everybody? It is Cook the Fanatic, and as many of you know, I am a huge fan of Palworld. I love playing the game. I think it's super fun. I don't think it's exactly the most innovative thing ever, but I do enjoy the game a lot and am a big fan. So because I've been playing Palworld so much, uploading videos on my secondary channel, I've actually been getting a lot of recommendations for Palworld gaming journal articles. Mostly tell me about like different areas in Palworld or how to fight different bosses. But one showed up to me that was kind of interesting, I thought, by a gaming journal called XDA, one I'm not really familiar with. But I thought we could read it together, saying, and it's called 5 Things Nintendo Refuses to Learn from Palworld. And I'll be honest with you guys, I pre-read this, okay? I pre-read it. I'm lying here. We're not reading it for the first time together. I pre-read it, and it says some pretty funny things that I kind of want to talk about in this video. Because why, like I said, why I think Palworld's a really fun game, a really well-made game for, you know, how much it may maybe copied off other games. It's not really fair to say that Pokemon's going to learn anything from Palworld, or that Pokemon or Nintendo in general needs to learn things from Palworld. It needs to do certain things Palworld does, but saying Nintendo's going to learn anything from Palworld is a crazy thing to say, and I'll get into that, into why that is when we go ahead and read this article here. First off, I want to go down. We're going to ignore all this, you know, this stuff right here about successful Palworld is, blah, 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 who cares. No hate to this guy who made this article, by the way. I just think it's funny. But let's get to number 5 here, where he said, players are tired of Pokemon bugs and jank. Polish and stability, please. So the reason this is funny to me is because this is titled 5 Things Nintendo Refuses to Learn from Palworld. That implies that Nintendo needs to learn that players are tired of Pokemon's bugs and jank. Guys, I hate to break it to you. The reason there's bugs and jank and so many issues in these new Pokemon games isn't because Nintendo just doesn't know you guys don't like it, okay? Nintendo doesn't think you guys enjoy bugs, guys. They really don't think you enjoy it. The reason there's so much bugs and jank is because they just don't fucking care, okay? Let's not pretend here like this is a learning curve for Nintendo, or Game Freak in particular, right? They see the bugs, they see the issues with their game, they play test it extensively, and they know their game's broken as shit. They just don't care, guys, okay? Because they know we're going to buy it like the pathetic little desperate Pokemon nerds we are. We're going to buy the damn game, even if it's shitty. And the fact that a new Pokemon game released every year sells 20 million copies minimum is proof of that. So saying number 5, they need to learn that players are tired of Pokemon's bug and jank is simply not accurate. They know people are tired of it. They just don't give a shit. So maybe I guess refusal to learn could be the right term, but the term learn implies they didn't already know. They know. They just don't care, and they know it doesn't affect them. I just think that's a funny opener right there. There's 5 things they can learn from Palworld, and one of them is people don't like bugs. Like, obviously people don't like bugs, guys. Everyone knows this. Nintendo knows this. I know this. You know this. No one likes bugs. Except Elder Scrolls fans. We love bugs, damn it. W Bethesda. I hated Starfield. Not because it was boring, but because there was less bugs than normal. Anyway, let's move on to the next section here. What else can Nintendo learn from Palworld? Monster utility shouldn't be limited to combat. Let my Pokepals hang out with me. Now, when it comes to this one, it's actually interesting because for the most part, Pokemon has kind of started implementing this, in my opinion. They've had several Pokemon games where your Pokemon follow you around. In the most recent game, you can like have a little cooked dinner with them and stuff like that. I don't really think this is a very accurate thing to learn from here, because if anything, Palworld may have taken the fact that Pokemon lets you have your Pokemon out more now to let their pals be out more now. So this is kind of an inaccurate number 4 to me, because I feel like Pokemon already aren't limited to combat. You can also do like fashion shows and stuff like that. So I kind of disagree with this point. Obviously, we're reading the headline here. So let's go ahead and read what this guy says in particular. For decades, Pokemon fans have imagined a world where our creatures did more than just battle. Why should a fire-breathing Charizard only use flamethrower in combat when it could also light up a campfire? Why should a Squirtle not help me irrigate my crops? Palworld took that idea and ran with it, making its pals an essential part of the gameplay loop. Your creatures work for you, crafting weapons, mining resources, blah blah blah, you guys get the point. Meanwhile, Pokemon still hasn't caught up. Even now your team is a little more than glorified trading cards. only coming to life when it's time for a turn-based skirmish. The potential for a game that builds true companionship, real-world interactions, and a deeper bond between trainers and Pokemon is sitting right there, waiting for Nintendo to finally evolve. So after reading that, I actually have even more problems with this statement, because this guy is essentially saying he wants a Pokemon survival game. He wants Palworld, except it's Pokemon World. And I don't think that Pokemon should just become Palworld. I love Palworld. I think it's super fun. And I would even say a survival-based Pokemon game could be fun, but I'm not sitting here saying the mainline series of Pokemon should become a survival game series like Palworld. That's what he wants here, and I just disagree with it. And saying that you can't do things with your Pokemon outside of combat is just wrong and kind of ridiculous. And, you know, as I said at the beginning of this, I'm a huge Palworld fan. I'm a Pokemon fan, even though it has its issues. It actually has a lot of issues recently. But let's not start making shit up here and having revisionist history because Palworld has been so nice to us recently and Pokemon has not. When Pokemon has never had the Pokemon just limited to combat, except the very early titles. Let's not pretend that's true, and let's not pretend that making them light up campfires and helping build your base wouldn't just be them copying off Palworld at that point. Like, are we about to go crazy here? The reverse, like, eat ourself cycle where Palworld copies off Pokemon, Pokemon copies off Palworld. Like, what's going on here, guys? I don't want Pokemon to be Palworld. I have Palworld if I want Palworld. Okay? So I disagree at this point entirely. Let's move on to the next one. 3. Real-time combat is more engaging. Turn-based combat needs to lose its turn. I don't know about this one, guys. Pokemon is built on turn-based combat. And as a JRPG fan myself, Yakuza Like a Dragon, baby. I kind of like the turn-based combat. I'm a huge Dragon Quest fan. I enjoy Yakuza games. I enjoy a lot of games that are turn-based. So to take away turn-based from Pokemon to me isn't the best idea. I know in the Pokemon Legends they're planning to make it more live action a little bit where you can like dodge attacks and stuff in this new Legends game they're releasing. I actually don't like that direction personally because I love the turn-based combat. I think it's more fun, or not more fun, but it's more unique and it just fits the series, and turn-based games require more strategy in my opinion, and that's just how I feel personally. So sitting here saying that this is an issue or something that Pokemon needs to learn, I disagree with, because it's turn-based or real-time combat. You can make your own choices. You can make your own decision there. It's not like one's right and one's wrong. It's like both are right for different things. And to say this, I kind of disagree with, because I don't think turn-based combat should be phased out. It's already getting phased out enough. And I feel like a lot of the most loved games in the world, like most popular games in the world, like the Dragon Quest series, like the Final Fantasy series, like, I don't know if Final Fantasy series is turn-based actually, but like Dragon Quest, like Yakuza, like Pokemon, some of the most popular series in the world are still using turn-based and incredibly successful because people do enjoy turn-based combat. So to say that real-time combat needs to get rid of all turn-based combat is such like a 2008 take when Halo released, right? Like, it's not a real take, guys. Like, we're past this point. We can realize both can be there together, right? Like, I don't like this take. So once again, this is the third point I'm disagreeing with. 5, 4, and 3 I've disagreed with. Let's see what number 2 is, guys, okay? A Pokemon MMO is longer. Hell no! I love Warframe, and I guess Warframe counts as an MMO. But for the most part, MMOs fucking suck. I hate MMOs. And if you think they can't even make a good single-player game. You think they're going to make a working MMO, brother? Brother, we need a working game before we get a working MMO. What the hell is this guy talking about, bro? Alright? And how the hell do you learn they need an MMO from Palworld? Palworld isn't even an MMO. Multiplayer does not equal MMO. A multiplayer game is not an MMO. Okay, guys? We need to learn this. And people are not realizing this in current day and age. An MMO is massively multiplayer. Hundreds of people on servers. It's massive, okay? Fucking Palworld is not an MMO. Call of Duty is not an MMO, guys, okay? We need to log in here and realize what an MMO is and what genre it encompasses. No one wants to, I mean, some people want a Pokemon MMO. Pokemon players want good co-op. They want good multiplayer. Not an MMO is not the thing we're asking for mostly. Some people are asking for that, like this guy. But that's not really what people want. We want working multiplayer. We can run around with one of our friends in the Pokemon world and like maybe fight together, do lots of doubles battle with wild Pokemon, stuff like that, which would be really fun and exciting. And before they make anything like an MMO, they need to make working multiplayer. Part of the problem for working multiplayer isn't Game Freak and Pokemon's part, but it is fault, but it is Nintendo's fault because they have the worst multiplayer system in the entire world. Nintendo Online is so fucking shitty. It's unbelievable. But, so I disagree with this point, but I do understand the real dream here isn't necessarily an MMO. It's for a fully functional multiplayer system. This guy's kind of using the word MMO incorrectly, in my opinion. Palworld isn't setting a precedent with MMOs because it's not a fucking MMO. It is a multiplayer game. And I do want multiplayer to work in Palworld. So if you say a Pokemon multiplayer game is long overdue, or a Pokemon game with working multiplayer is long overdue, or a Pokemon game with co-op is long overdue, I agree with it, but I don't agree with a Pokemon MMO is long overdue. I don't agree with it, personally. This is going to be a disgusting cash grab. If this game is ever made, it is the most disgusting, broken cash grab to ever be made, and we already know that's a fact. The microtransactions would be crazy. All right, moving on to number 1. Hardware is holding Pokemon back. Switch to better visual representation, Game Freak. Let's read this one because it could be talking about the Switch, or it could be talking about the 3D, whatever. I don't know what engine they use. Maybe it'll tell us here. Look, I'm all for the fact graphics don't make a game. I mean, 5 years after ray tracing was shoved down our throats, there are only a handful of games that truly justify ray tracing. However, we've been putting up with lackluster graphics in Pokemon games for years now. Agreed. And Scarlet and Violet only took things to a new low. Blurry textures, awful pop-in, and choppy frame rates made that grand open world adventure a technical mess. By the way, the grand open world looked terrible, was super bland. I get it. The Switch is aging, but that's only part of the problem. It isn't as if Tears of Kingdom, Luigi's Mansion, and Pikmin 4 don't exist, is it? Thank you. This guy actually has a great take right now so far. Because it's not the Switch's fault, even though it's the weakest system, that Pokemon looks terrible. The real issue seems to be Game Freak's refusal to optimize, relying on outdated tech and rushed development cycles instead of pushing Pokemon to its full potential. Meanwhile, Palworld runs smoother, looks better, offers a larger, more dynamic world, all while launching in early access. Nintendo Switch 2 has a lot riding on its shoulders. It will certainly be significantly more powerful. I just hope Nintendo steps up their game to finally give Pokemon the polish and graphic fidelity it deserves. Otherwise, even the latest Switch 2 won't save it from looking like a relic. Alright, I actually agree with this, his number 1 take a ton. But of all 5 takes, this is the only one I fully agree with. Because I really like how he didn't blame the Switch here. There are great looking games on the Switch, and you could absolutely make Pokemon look pretty good and presentable and work. In fact, you can keep Pokemon how it looks right now and make it not a buggy, disgusting mess. And guess what? It would be great. It would be amazing. People would be so damn happy. But the fact of the matter is Game Freak, which is obviously owned by Nintendo, is a multi-billion-dollar company. Not even multi-billion. It's like tens of billions of dollars worth, right? It's worth so much damn money, is the point here. And Pokemon is the most successful franchise, I think, in human history. It's the most successful entertainment franchise in human history. Am I wrong? Has any entertainment franchise made more than Pokemon? Let me know in the comments below. I'm pretty sure no. So, you're fucking telling me they can't afford to experiment a little bit with different gaming engines? They can't try out Unreal or like Frostbite or whatever the fuck different engines and see which one looks the best? Obviously Frostbite wouldn't be the best choice, but I'm just giving you examples here. You can't just experiment with different engines, have your 500 soldier dev team work on like making a good looking game that runs well. There is literally not a single game with less excuses than the Pokemon series and Game Freak to make a good-looking, well-played game. They have the biggest budget in the fucking world. Or if they don't have the biggest budget, Game Freak needs to give them a bigger budget. Because I can't imagine they're cutting costs. They probably are. But I don't understand how cutting costs, saving like $1 million or $2 million, is worth it when it dramatically worsens your game and you're going to make $50 fucking billion from the game anyway. So, irrelevant to that, they have the funding to where they can make the most beautiful game of all time. We all know this. And it's not the Switch's fault. The Switch is shitty, don't get me wrong. The Switch is a super weak console, super shitty, but it's not the Switch's fault. Because you make beautiful games on the Switch. And with, the money that Pokemon has, every single game should be beautiful and work perfectly. And it just doesn't, and it's very disappointing. The only thing that's been quality about Pokemon these past few years is their introduction of new designs. And I think the combat has actually been very well and exciting as well. I think they've actually made the combat and new moves and stuff very well balanced and very fun to fight with. Even though it's a little bit easy when you play through the main story, but if you fight equal level Pokemon, it's pretty fun. But for the most part, when it comes to the actual game itself, the engine and everything, it's just been a complete shit show, and that is not the Switch's fault. Okay, so this is his 5 reasons here. But I want to give you guys a bonus reason of something that I actually do think that Pokemon should learn from Palworld, and that is having Pokemon interact with the environment better. A huge issue with these past few open world Pokemon games, in my opinion, is that they felt super dead, and that the Pokemon kind of just wander around in them. The Pokemon don't really do anything. So I would really love if Pokemon could start being active, like, you know, one of the monkey Pokemons, like a fucking Tansy, I think they're called. You know, the guy Silas had, he had like three monkeys, like they're swinging around on trees, right? Or you see like a Charmander huddled up in a circle with its fire, keeping itself warm. Or you see like the cow Pokemons grazing on the, I can't think of, I'm blanking on Pokemon names right now. That's why you don't do this stuff off the top of the head, guys. I am blanking on names right now. If you guys cannot tell, I'm blanking on names. Or the little pig Pokemon eating in the dirt or some shit like that. Or like dog Pokemon rolling around and like playing and chasing each other. Something needs to be done to make the environment more interactable with. Not interactable with, but just seem more alive and active. Because the past few games, Violet, Sword, and Shield, the environment has been empty, and all Pokemon do is wander in a line. There's very few things that Pokemon do, besides sometimes they huddle up and like have yap bubbles. I don't know. But it doesn't feel like a real living world. And that's something that Palworld does do pretty well. The Pokemon run around, like the pals run around and play with each other. When you look at Cativas, you have pals that eat dead pals. You have pals that fight each other. I mean, there's just so much cool stuff going on in Palworld where these pals are interacting with one another. But in Pokemon, you just don't have that ever happening. The Pokemon don't interact with each other. They just walk in a straight line. They don't interact with the environment. And in fact, there's not much of an environment to interact with usually. The worlds have been super empty. So that's personally what I think Pokemon should learn from Palworld. Anyway, this is just a fun little hating on this article video. This article really isn't that bad. I don't want to send any hate this the XDA's way or the article writer's way. I think it's pretty goofy, you know, to have that Pokemon refuses to learn about bugs and jank. Like, they know about the bugs and jank, they just don't care. Like to say that Palworld taught them that is what I'm saying is the dumb part. You know, you could say they refuse to learn to improve their game so they make so much money, but you can't pretend and sit here and be like, they refuse to learn that the people are tired of bugs because of Palworld. Like, they already knew that before Palworld. They just don't care, guys. So, that's just my thoughts on it. I thought it was super fun. Obviously, I over-exaggerated some parts here. I thought it was a good time talking about this article. Let me know what you guys think about this article, and I do think that gaming articles are oversaturated. A lot of them are very, very shitty. And that there needs to be something done about IGN. There needs to be something done about XDA, apparently, about Polygon, where they release the lowest quality, shittiest articles of all time that just basically hate bait. Not saying this one's a hate bait necessarily, but that's what a lot of them are. And I think gaming journalists do need to be called out or talked about, or at least the companies behind them need to be called out, because gaming journalism is fucking terrible. Y'all see on the IGN, I know this isn't gaming, where they rated like the Invincible's season finale a fucking 4. Look, I don't think the season finale of Invincible, we're getting off topic here. I don't think the season finale of Invincible was as good as everyone's saying, but I think it's like an 8 probably. Like, it's a good ass season finale. It wasn't perfect in my opinion, but I think that's just because they followed the comic books. I haven't read the books, and I don't agree with all the plot points. But I thought it was a very good season finale. The animation was by far the best in the season so far. I enjoyed it a lot. So giving that shit a 4 is crazy, especially when IGN gives my fucking shit in the toilet a 10 out of 10 usually. So that's all I'm talking about here. They're just hate baiting recently. So gaming journalists need to be called out. And I thought this would be a fun gaming journal to talk about because it got recommended to me. Anyway, I'm going to give a huge shout out to my members, Tier J, Sign Up King 5000, and Point Panagoinus. Ganatoinus, I still don't know how to say your name. I'm never going to know how to say it. I do apologize. But big shout out to my members. If you guys want to become a member, you get early access to videos pretty much. And if I get more members, I'll probably start doing like more like behind the scenes content is a goal, but I don't have enough members for that yet. But thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And there's a Parvos Granum video coming here soon. I'm working on the longest script I've ever worked on before. It's 37 pages long. Okay, but it's double spaced, so 17 size font. Okay, so keep that in mind. But it's 37 pages long, over 6,500 word script. I finished it the other day on Parvos Granum. And it's going to be the best Warframe lore video I've ever released. And it's going to take me, it's been literally taking me weeks to put this thing together. And I still have some time left in the oven before I can show you guys. So I'm not going to give you an official release date yet. But I'm very excited to release it. So if your Warframe fans are in there like, where the hell is this next video coming about Warframe? Don't worry, it's coming. It's just literally the biggest, like, amount of work I've ever put into a video before. Okay, it's just insane. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I've been yapping long enough. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry I had so much energy this video. I'm just pumped right now. Stay blessed, stay happy, and one final note, I love Palworld, I love Pokemon, I love both these game franchises, so no hate to either one. Peace out.